Welcome to the Pinstripers podcast, a podcast for pinstripers, about pinstripers, hosted by two pinstripers. And today, one pinstriper's wife. I'm one of your hosts, Jack Fleming, and my wife is actually with me today, Juliana Fleming. Say hey.
Hello.
And our other host is
Freddie Villa. My lady's at work.
Hey man, my lady's at work too. She's working for me today.
Well, today we have Cassie Evancich, awesome pinstriper and all-around great painter from the Colorado area. That's all I got.
Well, I guess since we have two ladies on the show today, it's ladies' night, except it's not night, but
Lady night.
Yeah, so we're excited to get Cassie on the show here. We were aiming to try to get some people again that are front runners, that are making moves and elevating the craft, and Cassie is definitely one of them. We admire her work very much, and we're excited to hear her story.
With that, let's go ahead and give her a call. Good morning.
How are we?
Well, we're doing good here. We're on the road.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Jack's on the road to Alabama. He's doing, what's the name of the show called?
Yeah, we're headed to Battle in Bama in Mobile, Alabama.
Oh, that's awesome.
Tomorrow and Saturday. We're supposed to set up today, so we're actually in Mississippi at the moment.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, we got Jack and his wife are on the other side.
Hi. Hello.
Julie. Yeah, we got a fun dynamic. So we got 4 people on this time.
Oh man.
Yeah. Cassie, by chance, are we on speakerphone or are we on just regular phone?
On regular phone.
Okay. You got a little bit clearer just then. It was a little bit muffled. But welcome. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good.
Good. Sorry for such an early interview.
Oh, you're fine. I wake up early anyway. I'm usually up about 5:36 anyway. So
Awesome. Well, first and foremost, we keep forgetting to do this, but I figured I'd change it up and ask, how do you pronounce your last name?
Evancich.
Evancich. And that's kind of how I read it in my mind, but I suck at reading, so like I was second guessing the whole time.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I guess it can go a lot of different ways. Also,
definitely.
You have a decent amount of social media. So do you want to let the people know what the social medias are so they can find you?
Oh man, that's always confusing. I use Instagram the most.
Okay.
And that's Cassie Custom Art. I'm pretty much Cassie Custom Art on everything except for Facebook, my Facebook page. The title of it's Cassie Custom Art, but the tag on the end of the URL is Cassie Custom Creation.
Okay.
But if you search Cassie Custom Art, that's usually where you'll find me.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. So let's start back. Let's start back to the very beginning. How long have you been pinstriping for?
This will be my 11th year. I did the math the other night, and I still think it's crazy that it's been at least 10 years. So.
Yeah, it's a good run. You do excellent work. I know Jack and I both were thinking of folks that, because we're trying to do a mix of, people from the past and people from the present, and also folks that haven't had a chance really that we haven't heard about, like we don't know a lot about. And I know your name popped up, and I was like, yeah, let's get Cassie on for sure. So we admire the stuff that you're doing.
Oh gosh, that's flattering because I admire what you guys do.
Thank you.
Yeah, we appreciate it. So how did you get started? Did you do any art prior to pinstriping, or is it just something that you kind of started it by itself?
Oh gosh, I have always been into art and artistic. I was one of those hooligan kids that ditched class in high school And instead of ditching and going like partying or anything, I would ditch and go to the art room. So I've always loved art, and I went to college for art, and I thought I was going to be a children's book illustrator, and I had all these big grand plans of, being the Disney illustrator, some crazy job, and I just didn't want to move to California. I didn't, I was, fresh out of high school. College was intimidating, and I ended up getting my degree, but my family's always been into drag racing and cars, and my whole family races, and I just one day it just kind of clicked, and I was like, well, art and cars, what's better than that? So
absolutely
started tagging. My mom got me my first can of One Shot and brushes and an airbrush actually for Christmas one year, and I guess the story's old as time. I just didn't quit.
Were you already in college then whenever you had done that, or out, or was that before?
She got me my can of One Shot at Christmas, I think in high school.
Okay.
And I kind of was like, oh yeah, this is cool. And then I lost, interest. And then in college, I picked it back up again, probably my junior, senior year. And college definitely shut me down and told me that I couldn't make a living painting cars. And so I got a little discouraged, and
sounds familiar.
Yeah. And I just, I was like, no, I'm going to do this. And I have a college degree, but I definitely don't use it.
Well, if it was in art, I mean, there had to have been some stuff there that transferred over a little bit, right?
Definitely. The basics, it's always cliche, I guess, that, people say you got to walk before you run. And, you hate doing basics and putting in the work up front, but it really does, help you in the long run, as much as it is boring just to do, circles and S curves and straight line.
Yeah, I still need to go back to the basics. Like when I first started, I was just antsy to do designs.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just all I did was designs. I tried the S curves, I tried the straight, and I was just bored out of my mind. I said, let me try to do a scroll design. Like my third attempt was scrolling, which is weird because it's all backwards and upside down and such. But yeah, it's it is kind of boring to do the basics, but it shows in your work that you've done that.
It definitely does.
And
if you don't know the basics, you can't do the intermediate to advanced stuff.
Yeah, and you do all sorts of stuff. You do lettering and gold leaf and characters and such. And how long into your pinstriping did you start experimenting with that stuff?
I'd say about 2 years in. I decided that I was done with doing S curves and C curves, and I had a rough start to pinstriping because I heard all these wonderful stories about how, you go find your local pinstriper and ask him how to, paint, and he'll, offer you all this help. And I heard all these stories, and I went to one of our local pinstripers and kind of got shot down. I think found him on a bad day, and kind of got a little discouraged. And I guess I just kind of was like, well, I'm just going to get on the internet and try to figure this out myself, I guess, because I was determined to figure it out, because I was just enamored at car shows and the racetrack. If anything was ever hand painted, it was just like 10 times cooler to me that it was hand painted, even if it was like the slowest car there. And it resonated with me in a way. And so I was just determined to figure it out. And I was just about ready to quit. And I don't know if you guys know him. His name's Matt Beckner. He was holding a car show down in Alamos, Colorado. And he contacted me and said, "Oh my God, we love your work. We'd love you to come join us in our panel jam. It's going to be our first annual. We're just trying to get people to come out." And I was like, "Holy cow! Somebody wants to."
That's cool.
Somebody wants my work, and so it reignited my passion for pinstriping, and just I've met nothing but great people since, and I feel like that's what keeps me doing it, is really the people that you get to meet and the experiences you get with those people. So
Yeah, it's definitely a unique community. When Jack and I got a chance to do that Butler thing, that was my first time getting a chance to really meet a bunch of folks all at once. And
that's cool.
Yeah, and it really really put a fire under my butt to continue and to hopefully spread and meet more people, which is, when Jack mentioned doing this stuff, I thought, well, that's a perfect opportunity to make connections, with folks around the U.S.
It's awesome.
I do know of Matt's work. I feel like, if memory serves me right, some of his style is sort of like Hansen's style.
It is. Todd Hansen had a very big role in Matt's kind of learning, and it is very distinct.
Absolutely, it's like a one line deal, right? It's like all generally one continuous line per color.
Yeah, and the funny story about that is I always thought pinstriping was one continuous line. So I had been doing one continuous line forever, and I had an epiphany at one of the Alamosa, Colorado car shows. Todd was like, "Well, it doesn't have to be one continuous line. It could be anything." And we were just talking about finding your style, and I was just like, it was like this mind blown. I have a tendency my comfort zone is one continuous line and nothing crosses over the center line.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like that was a turning point in my pinstriping career. It just was like, wow, you can do anything.
Yeah, I think we've all hit that at some point with our design work, right? Like I've seen people where they got the design and then all of a sudden right in the middle of some curve, they're just, boom, a line comes out just like right out of the middle of it. I thought, well, damn, you could do that. I didn't know you could just pull a line just out of anywhere. And then some of them don't even connect. Some of them are just floating around. Still looks cool. So I guess it really, and it depends on like the feeling you put into it really is more, I kind of feel like the style sometimes beats technique sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it's stylishly cool looking, it might not be the most technical thing in the world, but still looks cool. So it does it does its job. It's like it's like a, I don't know, like a cool guitar lick. It might not be the best, but it sounded cool.
Yep, I would agree.
So are you working as a full-time painter pinstriper now?
Yeah, I went full-time, gosh, maybe 2 years now. I've gone full-time.
Nice.
I've been blessed to have been kind of taken on with a local pinstriper, Joe Broxterman. He's amazing. You could throw anything at Joe and he could just do it. And I've been helping him paint just about anything from gym floors, hot rods, semi-trucks, murals. I mean, we've gone on road trips to panel jams. He's just an amazing person, and he just is so, he just will teach you anything if you just ask. So it's been a great couple of years helping him with his projects and kind of getting out there, and it kind of has really pushed me to just make the leap and do it at full time.
Okay, can I jump in for a second?
Yeah.
I was just curious, how did that relationship there develop? Like, how did that come to be?
Joe is just an amazing friend and person, and I think he found me at a car show, and he had known that I had been pinstriping, and I do the swap meet in Colorado every year, and I think he picked up one of my cards and said, the Colorado gang of pinstripers, we try to do a monthly pinstripers lunch is what we call it.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's, people from a little further south, people from a little norther. We all kind of meet in a central location, and we all, just shoot the shit and have lunch and get together. And Joe just loves bringing in new pinstripers, old pinstripers, just local favorites. It's just a good way to get together and talk about the art and get together. And I was invited to the Pinstripers lunch one day, and he's like, oh, Alan Johnson and Beth Kearney and me and Rick Losh and who are all these like names that I've grown up with, and I'm just like, oh my God, I get to have lunch with them. Like, I was like, oh man, this is like an opportunity of a lifetime. And then you get there, and it's just like having lunch with old friends. Everybody makes you feel so welcome, and everybody's so interested in what you're doing, and it's a great time. So that's kind of how it started.
That's only the second time I've ever heard of a group that gets together like that, kind of on a routine basis. I think that's really super, super cool.
I recommend it highly because you learn. I mean, how can you not learn when like you're sitting next to Alan Johnson at a luncheon? Like you can't really go wrong with that situation. But there's just so much that you pull from it, and so much that you can talk through, especially as like an up and coming artist, or even somebody like me that's been in it at least 10 years. You feel like after 10 years you should know everything, but I'm still just learning so much from just going to lunch with these people. And I highly recommend it. If you've got even 2 pinstripers in an area, just get together. It doesn't even have to be monthly. It could just be like every now and then, just get together and talk.
Yeah, I think that's awesome advice. I'd love to see more stuff like that, or hear about more stuff like that going on. That's really cool.
For sure. I think also it when you get together for a panel jam, you're so focused on painting or getting panels done for the charity, or like I feel like if you just go to lunch and there's not paint involved, which is hard because that's what we're like wired to do. We love painting, but I feel like if you just get together solely just to talk and catch up, I feel like you gain not more out of it, but it's a different kind of gain. So I do highly recommend it.
That's really cool. And that's out there in Colorado, or where is that at?
Yeah, we meet in Longmont, Colorado, because that's kind of central to where everybody is coming from. So, but we've got, Bill Parrott comes out from way out east, and Rick Losh actually just moved to Wyoming, but he still drives down from Wyoming every now and then. And, we have special guests, if somebody's in town, we all try to get together and just, greet them, pick their brain. And so anybody knows anybody coming in town. So if you guys are ever in Colorado, hit us up. We'll have a Pinstripers lunch.
There you go.
Nice. I'll bring my appetite.
Absolutely.
So what part of Colorado are you in? And do you have a shop, or are you mobile?
I'm mobile. I have a studio at the house. My husband is very sweet and has let me take over pretty much the entire basement as a studio. So, but I'm mobile. I feel like it just works better for me. We don't have a ton of real estate in Colorado. It's ridiculous, and renting anything would be a ton of overhead. And if you can use somebody else's awesome shop, then why not?
And what part of Colorado are you in?
I'm in North Glen, Colorado, so it's just maybe 20 minutes north of Denver.
Okay. I recall a few years back, and I don't know if they're still doing it, but I remember hearing about something called, I think it was Brush Masters.
Oh yeah.
Or Brush Fest or something like that they were doing like a camping and painting event out there.
Yeah, the Brushmasters Getaway.
Yeah, did you ever get a chance to do any of those?
I didn't actually. It was God, that was when I was first starting out and money was tight and I just couldn't make the quota, but I've met a lot of people that have gone to that and it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it seemed like a fun time. Do you know if it's something that's still happening up there? I don't think I've heard about it in a while.
Gosh, I don't think. I mean, maybe like the last one I heard about was maybe 4 years ago. So I don't know. Maybe in recent times they haven't been able to do it. But gosh, no, I haven't heard about it for a while.
Yeah, maybe the pandemic kicked it off its track or something.
Definitely, it might have.
Well, that sort of leads me to another question. When you got started doing pinstriping, who were some of the artists that really caught your eye and influenced you into continuing the stuff?
Oh gosh, the first thing I ever pinstriped was my grandpa's midget. And I was nervous as all get out. And I think I pulled it. There's a local guy, Rick Losh. He used to paint all of the midgets. And I think Rick Losh probably was really huge. Joe Brocksterman was always obviously very huge because those were like my local guys that just kind of, that's who you saw at car shows and stuff when you were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say like Todd Hansen has been huge in my coming up. He used to come to the Alamosa shows. So it was just awesome getting to hang out with him. I gotta like shout out women in pinstriping because it really is comforting to see women in pinstriping when you're, just coming into it. So Hot Rod Jen obviously had a huge role. Alan Johnson was huge too. Beth Kearney. Gosh, there's so many. I try to go to a ton of panel jams and talk to as many people as I can just to pick their brain even for 5 minutes. I feel like you can take something from anybody if you talk to them long enough.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And any little one trick can be worth
for sure
a lifetime of money. Like that one little thing that one person showed you is like, oh man, that's money in the bank right there.
Absolutely.
I actually saw something on your TikTok account that I'm gonna steal. Well, I saw you. So I get these aluminum panels, right, and they got that white kind of coating, or I don't like the big sticker that comes on it that protects it. So I noticed that instead of like I normally take it off, and if I'm just now doing any leafing like just recently, and I'll normally take that off and try to tape off the areas that I want to gold leaf. But I saw in one of your videos that all you did was cut out of that sticker where you're gonna gold leaf. It's almost like you got your own tape already laid down.
Yep.
Which is a great idea. I saw it. I was like, oh man, this whole time I've been removing basically a nice big taped off section. I've been taking it off and then retaping. So I'm learning from you too.
Well, that's great. When I also saw, I can't remember who I saw do that, but it was just like this. What are you doing? Why are you taking off the free mask that is coming with the panel?
Yeah, I just saw you do that, and then I saw, I know I'm going to mess up the last name, the guy out of Russia. It's Alexander. I think it's like Timchenko or something. It's like a little week, and I saw him do that, and you do that, and I was like, dude, I've never thought about that. Why?
Yeah, that guy's killer. I just started doing reaction videos on TikTok. I just got the TikTok like a few months ago, and I'm so kind of, I don't want to say burnout on trying to do content because I got the YouTube channel and all that. So I thought, well, maybe it'd be fun to just do reaction videos where I kind of just explain what these people are doing and my take on what they're doing. So we'll see how that works out. But I did one of his videos, and that guy's amazing too.
That's awesome. I'll have to go look him up.
Yeah, I'm not on TikTok. I don't know hardly anything about it, and I know I'm not the only one in that boat. Since both of you have done something with it, can you guys, like, I don't know, give tips to those of us that have no clue or a little bit of more explanation?
Oh gosh. I've very briefly been dipping my toe in the TikTok world. I'm really starting to enjoy it, but I think my only tip would be don't get sucked in, because you could spend so much time editing videos and posting and doing trends and, just racking your mind about how to promote yourself on social media in general. And I feel like my biggest social media tip would be post what you do and be yourself, and don't get sucked in, because it is secondary to why people want to see you. So I feel like if you pick a lane and post strictly about that, the followers will come for sure.
Again, I don't know. I guess I'm like the goofy old man in my brain here with all of this. TikTok videos are usually really short, right? Like 30 seconds or something.
Yeah, they have 30-second, minute, 3-minute, and I guess they have a 10-minute feature now.
Oh, wow. So how much time are you usually spending on one of your videos as far as editing or any of that?
I'm very little at editing. I do time-lapse videos of myself painting and pictures kind of combined into one. And I mean, TikTok's kind of cool because it's got a default. TikTok will edit it for you and put a sound to it. And
oh, really?
Here, this is kind of cool. How about this? And you can have TikTok do it for you, or you can do your own. And I just do a couple quick time-lapse videos of me painting the project, and then a couple pictures of the finished product, and that's it. I really try to keep it pretty simple.
Sounds a little easier than YouTube then.
Yeah, I don't do YouTube. Freddie could probably tell you more about that, but I feel like TikTok is the quick, minute and under video, instant gratification kind of platform.
Yeah, TikTok. I'd say TikTok is more for geared towards the teenage crowd, right? It's the newer thing.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think it's not necessarily new anymore, but I think you had a good point there in saying just do the thing that you like, and it's because you like it, because it's your passion. People are going to follow it just because of that.
Definitely.
But even if you got old videos, just turn them all into time lapses. Get a little time lapse app. Turn it into a 30-second video and upload it. You don't have to do anything special on there. It does give you an opportunity to do a side-by-side video, so you can do they call it duets, right? So if somebody's doing something goofy on the other side, you could either match it or dance with it or whatever. And I just started doing videos to where I'll watch somebody else do a pinstripe design, and I'll just kind of talk about it. I try not to bust them up too bad. But that's what I just started trying to do, because I could do that in literally 2 minutes. I watch the video, I record my initial reaction, I just go with it, upload it, it's done.
Can you take that same video you made from there, and I guess put it on your YouTube channel? And I know it'll cross over to Instagram and stuff like that, but
yeah, it does have a button that lets you immediately put it on Instagram. YouTube, I don't know. I've not tried, to be honest, but I think it does cross over.
I'm all about if I can use something more than once, why not?
Absolutely. You can save a video too from TikTok.
Okay.
If you wanted to put it on YouTube, you could save it and then put it on YouTube.
Yeah, I just, if you're trying to, like for me, I've tried to spend as little time as I can on social media. If you can cover 5 things with one deal,
Amen to that. Amen. More time to paint.
Yeah, and lately I've been getting sucked in the way she says, man. I've been staying on my damn phone and not pulling out my brushes, and it's like I need to back off this stuff. You know what I mean?
Need to start some sort of campaign. Put your phone down and pick up your brush.
Yeah, and I think that's why another reason we wanted to reach out to you is because some of the guys, the people that we've interviewed before really aren't doing the social media thing, and it's Steve does it a little bit, mostly to push the classes that he's got. I know he does a lot of Facebook Live. But there's a whole new realm of opportunities there that people don't really know exists.
Definitely.
There's a guy on TikTok called Billy the Brush, I think, and at some point, I might see about doing an interview with him. I ain't not brought it up to Jack yet, but that dude is he does coach lines, right? He does a bunch of straight lines, and he's got millions and millions of followers, I think.
I have seen his videos.
Yeah. So he's making money off them for sure. I don't know what TikTok pays, but there's, it's pinstriping. He's doing what he loves. He's making these videos very fast, and it's an income, and and again, it goes back to what Cassie says there. He's just doing his thing. It's his thing. It's what he's going to do anyways. He just happens to throw a phone in his other hand and uploads, and now it's like money,
Yep.
So it's all a big juggle though, because then, like you said, you don't want to do too much of it and neglect your painting. I'm staring at something I want to pinstripe right now, actually.
Well, and I feel like I guess my only recommendation for doing social media, because I feel like nowadays people are more interested in your Instagram or your Facebook page. I'd say probably more Instagram than anything. They're over, say, like a website. Like people ask me all the time, hey, do you have an Instagram that I can look at your work? So I feel like nowadays you kind of have to have a social media presence in some fashion, because that's kind of what we've all been programmed to, like, oh, if I want to look up this thing, I Google it, and what's first is, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, like whatever social media you seem to have will pop up first before, say, like a website, if So I think that it's important to have some sort of social media presence, but I think you can get sucked in and spend way too much time. Like I say, my rule of thumb is don't get sucked in and keep it simple. I feel like I try to keep my mornings when I'm doing, having breakfast and whatnot. That's when I try to do social media. And then, once I've started the day, I don't ever really get on social media unless, somebody's messaging me for a job or, so I feel like you have to keep a good balance, because you can get too sucked into, I need to make these videos for, my followers. And, it's kind of like if you're not doing work, you don't have content. So paint always comes first for me. And then, if me and my husband are, driving somewhere, I'll try to make a few posts doing that instead of, sitting and looking at the clouds.
Looking at the clouds is important sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We reserve whole days for going to the mountains.
Well, that's I think that's really good advice, and I think when we're done, I might go look at the clouds too. I haven't seen sunshine in a while.
Oh man,
I work nights, so
Spring
it's
is
hard.
here.
It's hard.
You can look at the stars, Freddie.
Yeah. I don't get my nice golden brown skin that way, though, man.
Oh man,
Freddie,
a little bit of sunshine.
Well, I was thinking about another question. Cassie, have you had any challenges, or do you have any advice, like just as being a lady pinstriper in the game? Have you run into any challenges with that, or any advantages to that?
I definitely think there are advantages and disadvantages. I think the biggest one, and I hate saying it because it's not every person that you run into, but there are still people out there that they, like when I'm at a show doing like our local swap meet or something, if my husband's with me and he's sitting at my booth, they always look at him and say, well, how much to pinstripe my, whatever. And, he always has to look at them and go, I don't know, ask the pinstriper. And the look on their face is always shock. And it makes me laugh every time, because it's just like, how is it still shocking that like women can, pinstripe too? But I've never ran into anybody that was outwardly rude about, like, I don't want a woman to pinstripe my car. Like, I feel like we're past those days. But I feel like as a women pinstriper, customers do question you more. I've definitely ran into guys that just kind of ask you unnecessary questions and just like, just know, basic stuff that, I've been doing this for 10 years. You've seen my work. Like, why are we asking about, like really weird stuff? So I feel like my only advice to other women in pinstriping is know your worth and be confident. And I have had people try to talk me down on pricing and stuff just because I was a woman. And I would just say stick to your guns and know that, like, just because you're a woman, it doesn't mean that you don't deserve the same pricing, or it's weird that you're a woman pinstriping, because it's not. There's so many amazing custom paint world women out there, and I've been blessed to meet quite a few of them, and we all kind of have the same stories. It's pretty much just shock that a woman is pinstriping. And so
I have a question. This is Jack's wife, Julie. Thinking from the perspective of a woman, are there some advantages, do you think, because it makes you unique?
I say after they realize it's a woman pinstriper, they're way more intrigued about like my process. And like everybody's process is different, but it's still just like a pinstriping process. And so I think women bring a sense of spark of interest that maybe like, we all hear about the old guy that drinks and, he's got to drink to get his hand not shaky. And I think it curves that song and dance back to like, how do you pinstripe? Because it's like it's a woman pinstriping. So I feel like the interest when somebody finds a woman pinstriper, although it, maybe not insulting, but kind of just like, yeah, women are in pinstriping. You might not hear about us as much because maybe there isn't as many women pinstripers, but we are out there in force. Like I could probably name off 12 if I really tried off the top of my head, and I'm sure there's thousands more. So I feel like when you hear about women pinstriping, there's a spark, and I do feel like women bring something different, maybe not extra, but different. You know, we have a women's perspective. I feel like women pinstripers are a little more detailed. The things that we do and try. I feel like all the women pinstriper that I can think of right now, like Hot Rod Jen and Beth Kearney, and you just like, as an artist, you just look at their stuff and you're like, my God, it is like perfect. It is just perfectly symmetrical, and you're just like these thin lines and these cool shapes that you don't see really anywhere else. And I feel like we bring something more to the art if we really look hard enough.
I'm curious about something. I mean, you said that you can think of about 12.
Mm-hmm.
I can probably think of about half that.
Yeah.
And out of the ones that I can think of, I mean, it's in that age bracket that we're in. Do you know of any that pinstripers, female pinstripers that I guess are like the predecessors to you, Hot Rod Jen, Beth Kearney?
Yeah, definitely Hot Rod Jen, Beth Kearney. I mean, we have.
Well, I mean, like, who came before y'all as far as female pinstripers? Can you think of
any?
I can't.
Gosh.
And that's my ignorance, I guess. I can't think of any. I don't.
Well, I've met quite a few. I'd say a lot of the ones that I'm thinking of right now, I technically think they're more like sign painters.
Right. That goes to a couple I can think of that are like airbrush or kind of muralist.
Yeah. Caroline, her last name is evading me. But she's, kind of one of those oldies but goldies that like you just kind of you love and you meet them. And I met her at a panel jam in Milwaukee, the Pinstripe Legends. Caroline, there was a lady named Karen there. Karen Souza, I think she's more of a sign painter, but I've met her at a couple different shows now. Jeff Debbie had a meet out in Iowa that we all kind of road trip down to. After I hang up with you guys, I'm going to think of at least like 20. So, no, but my best advice is to just go to like a panel jam, any panel jam. There's a local guy named Rody. His wife just started pinstriping, but she's older. But I feel like Colorado is kind of the mecca, but maybe that's just because I live here. I've got Kendra Spanger. She's amazing. She does these awesome pinups, like cartoon pinups.
I think I've seen some of her work too.
Yeah, and she's an amazing striper. She's been doing it about 4 years. She actually started at that Brushmasters Getaway and a Mike Myers lettering place. That's kind of where she got her spark for the art. I mean, just in Colorado, we've got a girl down south named Kenzie Stripes. She's starting out. She's really starting it. She's getting big on TikTok too. She does a ton of videos on TikTok. Beth Kearney's up north in Loveland, Colorado. Kendra's kind of still down south Denver area. There's me. If you look, they're there.
Yeah, I can think of, 3 here in Texas, but maybe to kind of, I guess, out to our listeners that are here, shoot us an email or something. It'd be cool to see a list or something of, female pinstripers from around the country, or even outside of the country. I guess as a plug for that real quick, if you guys want to shoot us an email on that, it's pinstripers.podcast@gmail.com. But that'd be kind of cool. We could put it up on the Facebook page or something.
Very cool. That would be.
Yeah, I could think of. There's a couple. I think there's one in Australia, right? Jules.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's got amazing work.
Yeah, she does.
Who else was there? Oh, Kaja, I think is her name.
Yeah, she helps Todd a lot.
Yeah,
She's killing it.
She's a killer. She's a killer out there.
Yep.
Well, that's yeah, that is interesting to hear that perspective. I can't think of anybody here in Florida, but we're kind of out here by ourselves. I'm trying to change it. I'm trying to get some more people involved. I even thought about doing maybe some free classes around here just to get, I don't know, have some friends to paint with.
Yeah.
I've had people ask me for classes before, but I don't feel like it'd be right for me to charge anybody because I'm still learning, right? But
sure.
I've had folks ask about classes, and I thought, man, maybe if I just do them for free, I'd feel more comfortable doing that, you know?
That's what I love about this industry is we all are just like, why would you want me to teach you? Like, 'cause I know, like, when I met Alan Johnson, I was like, oh my God, I'm talking to Alan Johnson right now. Like, everybody knows who Alan Johnson is, I feel. And, you know, I went and had lunch with him, and then I got invited out to his place in Jersey. And I'm just like, I'm at Alan Johnson's house in Jersey. Like, oh my God, you know, you just like, it's like beating Michael Jordan or, you know, like some huge celebrity. And Alan's just like, well, we'll just pick, you know, he's just like, well, how do you do this, Alan? And he's like, well, you just pick up the brush and do it. And it's like, well, no, Alan, not really. It's like, no, I want to know how you do it. And he's like, why would you just do it how you do it? I'm like, oh man, because they're so humble. I'm like, you're Alan Johnson and you don't even get it. Like,
yeah, it's interesting because like folks that are in the top of the industry in other industries are not very accessible or not accessible at all.
Yeah.
And in this industry, I mean, you have lunch with them regularly.
Yeah.
You know?
You can go to any panel jam and meet any one of them at any point in time.
Yeah, and it's interesting, and it's interesting, and in some ways, it's a reason to elevate this, and not to make people unaccessible, but we need to know about these people. The world needs to know about these people. I mean, these are folks that elevated a craft from nothing, basically. You know, we're talking maybe those guys are like second generation. Maybe we're like third or fourth. I really don't know at this point what generation we would be considered. But yeah, that's, you know, again, why when Jack mentioned doing this podcast, I thought, let's do it, man. Let's get these stories out there, and let's talk to the front runners and the people that came before, and let's try to elevate the craft.
Definitely.
I'm getting a little bit of static from somebody. So let's talk about tools. What are some of the what is your go-to? Do you have any go-to brushes, go-to paint that you're using right now?
Oh gosh, I mean, I'm still using One Shot when I can find it.
Is it really that hard to find? Jack just told me that it was not. Because I don't use a whole lot, so I got stuff from last year.
Here in Denver, I was having problems finding a few of the like staple colors, like white and black and the orange for some reason. And for some reason, Kansas City teal was like, nobody had it in stock. So it wasn't all of paint, all of the colors, but a few of the colors I was just like, how is there a shortage of Kansas City teal? Like, what? But it's trickling back in now. I've been really digging hot hues. If it's a daily driver or car out on the road, I've probably painted it in hot hues. Everybody seems kind of scared of it, but you know, I think it's just the unknown.
Yeah, that unknown urethane thing.
It's really simple. I highly recommend jumping on a train because that's what I use on, especially like the big semis that I've been helping Joe with. We use hot hues on that because you can pressure wash that thing and it does not come off. If you prep right, it will not come off. So,
are y'all doing those in like a shop or, you know, like a body shop where they've been painted and maybe they're getting cleared over, or are you guys just doing them after all that?
We're doing them after all that, but it's a like local truck sale place. We catch them when they're at the
Gotcha.
facility right before they got sold, or the place that they bought the truck at. It's a place called Rush. Uh, or we do a lot of the Western distributing trucks here in Colorado, so we do them at their facility in their shop. We have like a couple days that are always empty that we use to paint them in.
That's kind of interesting. I know I hear the old stories of people that would set up at truck stops or whatnot and do stuff, but I haven't heard of anything in a long time.
Nope, I don't think I've heard of anybody do it here recently. No, we catch them while they buy them, and Rush is really good about, promoting and saying, hey, we've got these people that'll custom paint it for you if you want it, and so it's really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I've not dealt with any hot hues. I think we did get a chance to mess with the what was the stuff up there at Steve's that we used, Jack?
That was the House of Colors.
House of Colors urethane, and I think it's a similar idea, right? You have to add
very similar.
You have to add catalyst to that.
Yeah, I know I don't know about House of Color. I haven't used it in a while, but the hot hues is a 2-1 ratio, so I just have a little thing of measuring spoons and do 2 scoops of the color, 1 scoop of the catalyst, and you're off to the races. It does. You have to use like a slow enamel reducer is what I use to thin it. But the color payoff is great. Longevity of it is great. I know One Shot was having a few, problems with dry time and stuff on a few batches that they did, but I haven't really had any problems with One Shot for a while. But hot hues is just, sometimes you need it to dry just a bit faster. And hot hues, we can lay down lines on a semi, go have lunch, and come back, and they are dry as a bone, ready to go. So it makes production wise. And I know that people that do a lot of characters and stuff, this might be a tip for them if they're scared to use hot hues. I put the colors in a cup. So if I'm doing a chrome, if I'm trying to replicate chrome, I get all the chrome, black, white, blue, in cups, and then I mix, and then I have a cup of catalyst. And so I don't mix catalyst into the paint. I palette it in on the palette while I'm painting. So I know a lot of people are concerned about dry time, flashing too quickly, and they can't get blends that they like. So I guess that would be my tip for people that are scared of it drying too fast. I would say mix in the catalyst as you paint.
So that's when you're doing character type stuff.
Yeah, the pinups that I do, if you're doing chrome rendering, anything that needs to be blended, I guess. I would just skin tones on pinups. I would get my, dark, medium, light skin tones. So my shade, my highlight, my mid-tone, and then I paint my mid-tone, and then I go back and blend, but I'm adding catalyst with my brush and palette as I go. So
is there a time window, I guess, say if you're doing a pinup and you've done your skin tones and now you're coming back and adding, details, I don't know, something small, eyelashes, eyebrows, something like that might overlap. Is there a window that you got to work within, or?
I think I've never ran into it wrinkling or anything. I feel like the only thing you have to watch is it's kind of like One Shot with hardener in my experience. If you put a base down that doesn't have hardener in it, and then you try to go back over it with paint with One Shot with hardener in it, sometimes it'll wrinkle.
Right.
So I guess as long as you're catalyzing everything equally, I've never ran into a problem. I've gone right back over like done the base coat, mixed up my shade color and gone right back in. So if there is a window, I haven't found it yet. So
just curious. That's one of the things that I'm always kind of wondering about with it.
Definitely. I haven't found one. I'd say to recoat something, like if you were doing a line on a truck, like if you got a 1/2-inch graphic line on a truck and you do one coat, I'd wait like 15 minutes maybe.
Okay.
But I don't think it's necessary. But if you were really worried, I guess 30 minutes.
I know, like if I'm doing letters or something, sometimes I've got a double coat. There's a window with enamels that it's kind of best to work within, or you're going to have problems.
Definitely.
I'm just going to stick to pinstriping, y'all.
Absolutely.
That leads to another really good question. I mean, I know me and Freddie are kind of familiar with your work, but other than pinstriping, now that you've been full-time for 2 years, what other stuff are you doing as part of your business, to make income?
I tell everybody I'll paint anything that'll hold still long enough. I think to make it in this world, you have to be able to adapt to really any project. I try not, and I think that comes from Joe Brocksterman, who I talked about earlier. I learned that from him because if you say no to something because it's not, well, I only do flames. Like, well, there's 8,000 other jobs out there that you could be doing if you just branched out. So I feel like being diverse in your abilities, get really good at one thing, like I am really good at this, and then be able to do the other things. So like, I'll do gold leaf, I'll do lettering, I'll do characters, I'll do flame, it doesn't matter. I've tried to learn everything, and that way if somebody says, well, gosh, because if you only do lettering and you got a semi-customer that you're putting their DOT numbers on, but gosh, I really wish, there was a pinstriper here local. Well, guess what? I pinstripe. I can do it right now. And so it's not only a selling factor, but I feel like the more diverse you are in what your abilities are, the more you can do. Like I've done with Joe Brocksterman, I've done gym floors, like high school gym floors. We put their mascot and logo kind of on the gym floor. We've done murals. We went out to Illinois, and did a giant 120-foot long mural. I mean, with acrylics. I mean, I just feel like if you're diverse enough, you'll never, go hungry. You'll always be able to pay the bills.
I think that's great advice. I feel like Steve said something similar when we interviewed him. He said, try to get really good at one thing, and then you just fill in the gaps with the other stuff.
Definitely.
So with being tips and such, do you happen to have any tips or tricks for maybe a new pinstriper or somebody that's in the game? Something you could think of that would help somebody out getting into pinstriping, or maybe helping them progress if they're already in it?
I think the biggest tip I have is always listen to other painters. Feel like, and don't get sucked into gimmicks or, like the entertaining factor of pinstriping. If you listen to the people that have been doing it, 20, 30, 40 years, everybody says the same thing. Like, there isn't a magic brush. There isn't magic paint. There isn't, there will always be a hang up, especially if you're mobile. Just always be prepared have the ability to adapt, because in this industry, you're always going to have to alter something or figure out a workaround to make it happen. And not every job is going to be something that is like this elaborate work of art. Like, sometimes all they want are just 2 coach lines down the side of their car. And you can't be so arrogant or, I won't do that because it's not, this big, low rider pinstriping everywhere. Like, sometimes pinstriping isn't glamorous and it's not, the show that everybody thinks it is. It's hard work, and it is, sometimes it's boring work. Sometimes it's repairing fenders from a collision, and it's just 2 lines down a fender. So I guess biggest, and don't pigeonhole yourself into a box where, you're just painting wrap think, like, think outside of that box and like what more could you do with it? So
I think that's valid, very valid, very good advice. We appreciate that.
No problem.
Jack, do you have any more questions? We're starting to get either right past an hour or right at an hour, and I do have one last question, but I thought I'd toss it to you first.
I do have another question.
Yep.
Having followed your work for a while, I see pictures of your dog all the time. Tell us about your dog.
Oh man, how did I know Luna was gonna get mentioned at some point? My dog Luna is a ham and a half, and she loves taking pictures. And I can't take a picture of anything like a panel or a helmet or anything small. Sometimes even the car. If I bring her along to the job, she's such a camera hog that when you take a picture of anything, she feels like she has to be in the picture. So whenever I take a picture of a piece that I finished, she will literally walk into the picture frame and she will not get out of the picture until I have taken a picture with her. So it's a joke now with the people that have followed me that it's not done until Luna has posed with it. So if Luna doesn't pose with it, it's not done. And we actually just adopted a new little guy named Hank, and he is a tripod. He's only got 3 legs. So his sister Luna is teaching him the ways of being a camera hog. So they definitely are. And I can't really go anywhere without people asking, like, well, where's Luna? Or, well, how come you didn't bring Luna? Or, well, Luna needs to come, pose with my car that you did. So
she's your pinup.
I literally have I made a coffee table book of everything that I've painted and that she has posed with. That's how many pictures we have of Luna with my artwork. You can have a coffee table book. So if anybody wants one, I'll print it up for them.
Well, you need to set Luna up with a 401k and some money for the dog for
definitely. She's cheap. She's cheap labor. She works for treats and ice cream and chicken nuggets. So
nice.
She's my social media manager. That's what we call her. The HR department of Cassie Custom Art.
Well, good job on that one, Jack. You brought the puppy in the mix.
I had to.
All right. Well, one of the closing questions that we like to ask, just to get the personalities in here of folks a little bit more, is: do you happen to have any stories that have happened to you along the way? Funny, sad, exciting, something that the listeners might like to hear.
Oh gosh, I know, and I thought about this all night, and in my 10 years of custom paint anything, there are so many stories and just awesome experiences that I've had to like narrow it down, and I can't narrow it down because I feel like the reason why I love what I do is because I always get to meet the coolest people and the coolest garages. You get to see the coolest everything. And I guess I highly recommend finding your local panel jam or even traveling for panel jams. But I think what I love the best is finding like those two people or even one person. Like that one person for me would probably be Joe Brocksterman, and then my sister of the brush, Kendra Spanger. We constantly go on road trips, and I think to just different panel jams. We're going to Wall Dogs in August. I don't know if you guys know about that. It would be so fun to sign up. Hot Rod Jen's doing a wall. I feel like my most memorable experiences are with Joe Brocksterman and Kendra Spanger. They just road trips and projects that we've done. Like if you really want to make a project fun, like find a paint buddy and do it with them. Like Kendra and I just finished my husband's race car. She was over here Tuesday and Wednesday helping me. Joe came up Tuesday as well, and I get the most from experiences like that. Just like a bunch of, like-minded people getting together to work on a project. And my favorite experiences come from experiences like that. It's just like friends going on a road trip to paint.
Nice. So the journey's ongoing.
Absolutely. And not saying no to really anything. Just try it. And if you don't possess the ability to do it, call up your friend and do it with them, and you both will figure it out.
Nice. One last thing that I also been asking folks, and you might have already mentioned some of these folks, but is there anybody that you would like to hear on the podcast that might have popped into your mind at some point when you heard about this podcast come up?
I think Todd Hansen would be a great one. I've been blessed to be able to have multiple conversations with Todd. He's always insightful, and he's so good at explaining and just deep, like Todd Hansen would be great. Alan Johnson is also just like a wealth of knowledge. Anybody really. I've never met any pinstriper, sign painter, custom painter that didn't have an awesome story. Bob Bohanic is amazing. If you ever get to talk to him,
we met him, I believe. We met Bob.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's awesome. Really anybody you can talk to them, because Hot Rod Jen is obviously really awesome. She's great. I could send you a list of 100 people probably, because I've never, and I've been to quite a few panel jams, and I've never talked to somebody and not just gone, wow, that's awesome. I met them.
Well, we appreciate that. We appreciate the list. We'll definitely take note. I know we've been trying to get Alan Johnson on for sure. But again, there's a good long list of folks that we want to get, and Todd be awesome too. So I think that about covers it. Jack, you got anything else?
I think that's about all I can think of.
All right. Well, Cassie, we appreciate you blessing us with your time. We appreciate your art. We appreciate you as a person, and thank you for coming on and talking to us.
Oh gosh, thanks for wanting to talk to me. I was very flattered when you guys asked. I was like, oh man, yeah, I'd love to. Like little old me in Denver, Colorado, there's much cooler people to talk to, but I enjoy it. I love your guys' work. And I look forward to listening to the rest of your podcast. I'm a big fan.
Well, we appreciate it, and hopefully we'll cross paths at some point, and we'll see if we can do a panel together, or maybe you could show me some stuff, or vice versa.
Absolutely.
Well, all right. You have a good day, and thank you for your time.
You too.
All right. Thank you again. Really was a pleasure.
Awesome. Talk to you guys later.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.